Humility is very important. It should be a part of our natural DNA, and I think it's an organic response to life.
Mr.O, we on grind, baby. Let's get it. Ay, 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 we on grind. Ay, 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 we on grind. Ay, 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 we on grind. Ay, ay, ay.
Wake up and grind, man. To all my haters, thank God for the win. You just got a second chance. Now do something with it. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mr. O, and I'm just living. Keeping with the theme, I'm going down this rabbit hole of like wondering why Americans are leaving the US and why other nationalities and people from other countries are moving abroad, leaving their home countries in search of a better way of life. Why is this? Please like and subscribe to the channel and share this content to anyone that may be interested in this topic. I found this guy on a content creators channel called Max Chernov. I don't know how to pronounce it. Cheternov. I'll put his name here somewhere. And he interviewed this billionaire. Now, this is coming from a different perspective, since people tend to think that like maybe their dollar isn't going or their currency isn't going as far as they wanted to in their home country. This is a billionaire who chose Thailand. And it's interesting to hear his perspectives on why he chose Thailand when he got all the money he needed in the world. He still chose a country like Thailand to move to and live out the rest of his life. So I want to get into this, why this billionaire chose Thailand over the US. Well, first, as we always do, let's start with a cup of coffee.
Shot the pot, straight drop, straight drop, straight drop.
All right, let's get into it.
I'm about to show you what the real life of a billionaire looks like. Meet Mohan Marjani. He built iconic brands like Tommy Hilfiger and transformed the global jeans market from simple workwear into stylish fashion.
As soon as the store opened, there was a deluge of women that just rushed.
Built Tommy Hilfiger.
All the jeans were gone.
Born in India and raised in Hong Kong, he became a billionaire by the age of 35.
I was
Nice.
the first non-Jew and certainly non-American.
See, he's a billionaire. At 35, he was a billionaire. Built Tommy Hilfiger brands. He can live anywhere he wants to in the world. Why did he choose Thailand?
To come into this in a big way.
Mohan shared how a simple idea ignored by big companies made him $500 million in a year.
Nice.
How he ended up jamming with the Beatles. And why Thailand is so special that he chose it as his new home and built one of the most exceptional British-style mansions in Asia. I promise, this story will blow your mind. Let's go.
When I came here, I just felt very much at home. I felt I was back in old Hong Kong.
Now, that's one thing I can say. I've been to Thailand. I've been going since 2004. And it's just this feeling you get when you get off the plane. When you meet the people, you feel, I can't explain it. If anybody been there, I think they would agree with my sentiment. They say the same things. You just feel, you feel comfortable. You feel at home.
It was like, because the buildings and everything were much older. They weren't like the modern, Hong Kong is. And 12 years ago, Phuket had less buildings than it did today. You could buy fresh fruits, from the stalls, from the markets, from wherever, and not necessarily going into the supermarket.
Dope.
There were so many elements that reminded me, and we had beautiful beaches. So there were so many elements of old Hong Kong. And I just fell in love. But most importantly, it were the people of Thailand. I've traveled in many countries in this world throughout my life. I have never seen a more welcoming nation and people than the Thais.
That is true. Everybody in Thailand makes you feel welcome. I have never felt unwelcome. Everybody you meet it's almost, your first instinct is to think that they can't be real. They can't be this nice. But they are. For some reason, they are really big on respect and very inviting people.
I've never gone anywhere in the world where, you know, if you go to visit, let's say you go to France or anywhere and you don't speak the language, and they'll look at you and they'll just stop by and they give you that, and you know, no, I don't speak French, sorry, I'm British, they're gone. You
Right.
ask them a question, they're gone. You know, same thing.
I heard that about
When
French.
the foreigner
I've been to
here
Paris.
in Thailand, and we don't speak their language. They smile and they help us. You know? And
Yes.
if they don't speak English, they will go and find somebody and bring that person who speaks English to help us. They don't just walk away and leave you stranded. You know, they're just such a helpful, giving, generous people. I've never seen people like this, you know, and they're not violent, they're not abusive, they're very gentle and kind, and that
Thailand is a very safe country. Far more safe than America.
relates back to Buddhism. And Buddha, of course, was also a Hindu. So for me, Buddhism and Hinduism are the same because Buddha was a Hindu. So when I go to, I'm happy to go to the temples, I'm happy to go anywhere, and I feel very, very comfortable. So the main reason is really the Thai people.
The religious correlation makes sense for him, but the people, I think it's the people. He stated several times, it's the people. This billionaire chose Thailand over America. Can live anywhere he wants to because of the people.
Who are the most wonderful people on earth. The most giving, the most, it's so funny because we all have such prejudices. When you hear a Thai person trying to speak English, we'll say, oh, he's speaking Tinglish. You know,
I've never heard that.
And it's the same if a Chinese
Tinglish.
tries to speak English, we say he's speaking Chinglish. He's not speaking
English. I've never heard these terms. Chinglish, English, Tinglish for English by a Thai person. Tinglish. Let's keep going.
But yet the same people, whether they're Chinese or Japanese or Thais, when the foreigner tries to learn and speak their language, and in spite of the fact that the foreigner is speaking totally broken Thai and totally mismatched words and terrible accent, they smile and they think it's so cute and so wonderful that the foreigner is making an effort to learn their language. And they feel so happy that the foreigner is making an effort to learn their language. And yet we, when they try to learn English, we sort of look down upon them and say, oh, you're speaking English.
Why are we like this?
Well, they're not English. That's not them. That's not their mother tongue. You know. So that's when you realize the difference in the world of people, and how in one nation and one people think that someone look down on them, and meantime the Thais look up and look kindly upon everything that happens. So we're just very lucky to be here.
I just
Wow.
stopped for a second to want to say hi to the lovely people there.
Who is that? That's his mates, his workers.
That's so sweet.
Now, he ain't, I don't think he has them. I don't think he put them over there. I think that they're just such a respectful people that they're trying to stay out of his way while the cameras are there. They did this on their own. Look how happy they are.
Hiding not to disturb the process.
You're not to disturb. They just decided to hide, not to disturb.
Everyone is working here has been with us for a long time, and we take care of them.
Beautiful.
We treat them like family, and I'm always concerned about them and their children. If they're sick, or how can I help? My one maid, because she left years ago, and then she went home to take care of her mother, and every year she has rice. And she's from the harvesting of her rice, and she'll send me a bag of the rice that she harvests.
Now, a lot of the Thais are from the countrysides, and they have rice farms. This is kind of how their families survive.
And so and this is you can't. That's what money cannot buy. What follows on from my love for the Thais and how good they are is that Thailand is probably the only nation in Asia which was never controlled or taken by the foreigners.
That's important. Thailand is one of the only nations that hasn't been overtaken or taken or controlled by a foreign country or nation. When you think about relocating and you think about trying to predict the future, what may happen as far as like who may invade, take ownership, that's one thing to know about Thailand. They have never been controlled by any other nation. So to pick neutral grounds on where to settle, this is also a plus.
You know, whether Vietnam by the French or Hong Kong by the British,
Vietnam,
Singapore by the British,
right,
India by the British,
right.
and so on. Indonesia by the Dutch. Thailand never had anyone occupy their territory.
Right.
So the Thais maintained their culture all the way through. And what's wonderful is that whilst many nations in Asia, you know, looked up and had looked up, you know, over the decades to the American way of life, and whether it was the McDonald's and the pizzas and you know, and looking at the movies and the TVs and trying to emulate their cultures and thinking that that was a better culture, you know, not really understanding that their cultures went back thousands of years.
Yeah.
America only came to existence a couple of hundred years.
That's important to understand. Most other countries, I think maybe at all. I don't know if I know of another country, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but we talk about America and all this culture, and it's the newest country in the world. And I would argue that it has no culture. It's just a melting pot of like everybody trying to influence their so-called culture on our culture, and we don't have an American culture. Everywhere you go, they lead with the country that they're from before they talk about anything else that they identify with. Whereas in America, we tend to identify with our color or, you know, certain ethnicity before we even consider ourselves Americans. Nobody willing to trade in an American passport, but we hate to put America first above anything. And this is what's going on with politics right now. I don't know how this is such a hard concept to understand, but we are not putting our country in the forefront of our identity, whereas everywhere else you go in the world, they lead with their country. Venezuela, Argentina, Mexico, Canadian, Thai, every Asian country, every Muslim country, every Middle Eastern country. They lead with the country of origin. They put that first. They don't argue out in public. Outside of America and the UK, we're always arguing about our difference in politics and out in the open, and we put that above the country's needs. I think that's sad. I think it's difficult to live under a regime like this. It makes it uncomfortable, and it causes us to fight amongst each other instead of putting the needs of our country first. Whereas everywhere else you go, they lead with their country.
And on top of that, America is made up a mixture of many, many, many cultures. There is no the America we're talking about is not what the Americans are.
It's changed.
Not considered the same Americans, but the main thing.
The old America, new America, it will continue to evolve.
Thailand, and what I find, you know, the single most wonderful thing about Thailand,
and a
is
sense
about
of
respect.
redefining
Not
itself.
only do they respect foreigners, but amongst
Getting tired of it.
themselves, they have such great respect for the elders. Elders meaning you could just be a year older to a person, and they have a different name for you. So if you're a girl, if she's got if they're two girls, they're friends, and if she's older, she'll be called as, and let's say her name is P. Yui, Yui, they will say P. Yui. P. Yui means she's older than me, so I respect her. And if she's younger to you, she'll say Nong Yui, and Nong Yui means they say it with love, that you're my younger sister and I'm going to take care of you.
I like that.
So everything is said with love. And then more importantly, when it comes
respect.
to their parents and the older parents, they have an incredible sense of responsibility. It's not like the Western world where their parents are dying for the children to leave their homes and, you know,
Right.
you got to get out of the nest and so on.
Empty nest.
Here it's totally the opposite. You know, they're welcome and they stay at home on a continuous basis, and generations go on and on.
A lot of
For
cultures and
example,
countries
they
are
go
like
out
that
on the time
outside of
when
America.
they call Songkran, and they're celebrating all night, and they're
Songkran.
spraying each other with water and drinking and partying and music.
SoundCloud's a good time. Everybody's in the street with water guns, wetting each other, signifying the purity and the start of a new year.
Music's going on and having parades, but they never forget that no matter how much they've drunk or whatever time they've slept or not slept at all, come early in the morning at 6 o'clock, they would have had their showers or their bath, and they go to their parents and to give their respects.
I like
and
that.
to seek blessings from their parents. And what they do is they bring them flowers, they bring them some water, they wash their feet, wash their hands, and take the blessings, and the parents tie a white thread around them to give them their blessings. And then what's wonderful is they then continue on.
He has them
for the
on him.
next few hours,
On his wrist.
going to all
You
the
see?
homes around them, especially to the elders and the grandparents or the older people, and do the same thing with all the older people.
Yeah.
And they all they give is take little packets, and in those packets are just their basic amenities, things that they would use on a daily basis: toothbrush, toothpaste, some soap powder, rice, oil, whatever it might be. And then just to go and get their blessings. And by the time they come back, their arms are like, you know, you got the white threads going all the way through. And then after that, they come back.
That's beautiful.
And then everyone, the family, comes back to the family, and the family goes to temple. They do their prayers, and they feast in the temple grounds, and everyone has their lunch, and then the day continues. And then another example of that, I mean, I remember meeting this lady who was a senior manager in a bank, in a large bank, and she told me she was just called me to let me know that she was going to be resigning, and I said, why? You know, you hold something wrong, and she said, no, because my mother is sick. So I said, okay. So I couldn't quite understand why, if a mother's sick, why would she have to resign from her job, you know? And she said, no, because I want to take care of my mother. Now, she resigned, left her job, not knowing how long she's going to, go back to work, and if her mother's going to be well, unwell, how long it's going to take. But for her, it wasn't a sacrifice. It wasn't like she was giving up her career or she was doing anything unusual. To her, it was just so natural. There was nothing unusual about doing that. Now, anywhere else in the world, nobody would do this, you know. They would never do this, and it's all part of their culture, their respect for the elders, their sense of humility, which is really the most important element of quality of a human being, is humility.
That's true. And humility is very important. It should be a part of our natural DNA, and I think it's an organic response to life, how it should be. I'm gonna leave this video right here. Y'all go check it out. If you want to learn more about why he moved and where he's at, it's an hour and 40-minute video. I think he's living in Phuket. But this billionaire chose Thailand over America for culture and human decency and the people, and then the beauty and the purity of it all. I think that's a great reason to leave. I'll stop that here. Y'all check it out. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Go check his video out. Subscribe to his channel too as well, Max. I want to say something. When is the last time someone asked you how you doing and actually gave a damn about the response? How are you feeling mentally? Where are you today? You know, are you just running through life, paying bills and putting your head down and feeling like you have to do certain things and not really taking care of yourself mentally? How far do you think you can go in life like that with carrying that amount of stress without releasing it? When are you gonna live for yourself? When are you gonna get out of your own way and find a sense of peace somewhere in the world? It may not be here. It may not be in the city you live in. It may not be in the state you live in. It may not be in the country you live in. But the only way you're gonna know where and what environment resonates with you best is if you get out, use your passport, and explore this world that we live in. When are you gonna stop just existing and start just living? And that's my time. I'm Mr. O. Stay smooth and keep it player. You dig. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. You dig.